So Matt, what do you want to do for today's intro?
You know, based off all those great memes that Al and LaFoe made, how about I yell magic and then we'll moon them together? You ready?
What?
Magic!
No, cut!
Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 for January 23rd, 2024. I'm Matt. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, I'm Tim. Smash that like button. Today, we got some killer plants on the 10 at 10. We're going to start out with an introduction by Talon Buchholz, Acer palmatum, yellow threads.
We got killer plants, but please don't kill these plants. Make sure to water them and make sure they have good drainage. Yellow threads is an excellent new introduction by Talon Buchholz. This is one of my favorite linear lobulums. It might be the linear lobulum with the most, new cutting edge interest to it. This one is super cool. It is a yellow to lime green linear lobulum Japanese maple. This looks amazing with things like punkill because of that contrast. Now, I say it a lot on this channel, but nothing is more relaxing in a garden than a linear lobulum. They have that Asian gardening bamboo aesthetic. I love everything they bring to the table. It just makes me relax and kind of just somberly take note of what's going on. It's like wind chimes on the garden. It just soothes my soul.
Now this one gives you some good yellow color out there in the garden as well. It's really unique in that respect. There's not another linear lobulum that gives the color yellow that Yellow Threads does. We've got a whole cultivar highlight on this on the Mr. Maple show here on YouTube. Go check that out. Our cultivar highlight of Yellow Threads at Maplewood Gardens is pretty spectacular. You can see the sunlight coming through it, and you can really see that yellow color that Yellow Threads can provide out there in the garden. It's one of those plants that is very unique and different because of its linear lobulum style, that airy shape, and that yellow color.
I mentioned it, but something like punkill, Beniotaki, any of the darker red linear lobulums look excellent with this. It contrasts with everything in the ground, so if you put this next to a red lace leaf, it's going to look amazing. But I love that kind of similar aesthetic of the linear lobulum that this has with punkill. I think they play off of each other well, and just a showstopper there in the landscape. Definitely check out Yellow Threads on Mr. Maple today.
Now these trees get listed today at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're wondering why they're not on the website yet, it's because it is the 10 at 10. These 10 trees get listed at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, guys, next up on the table, we got Acer palmatum, Anna's Broom.
Now, Anna's Broom, this is a selection by our good friend Billy Schwartz. He recently sent us some pumpkin seed in the mail.
Right,
Some salted pumpkin seed.
Channel. Billy's an awesome friend.
And he's one of those guys that's one of those, he's got such a crazy life story behind him. We did a fun podcast with him. You should check that out as well. But Anna's Broom is a witch's broom that was found on the Dick Wolf property. He went in there, and Anna was, in the house on the Dick Wolf property in Lima, Pennsylvania, and said, I just found a witch's broom. I'm going to name it after you. And that tree became Anna's Broom.
Excellent, compact, small red, beautiful color patterns to this one. I love its density, makes a great container plant, makes a great pairing in a conifer garden. Anywhere you want to add some deciduous splash on a small broom scale, Anna's Broom is a great way to do it. This pairs nicely with other brooms. It's going to give you some different color contrast with things like Shayna, different textures. I love everything this one does. Anna's Broom, it does sell out quickly. Another great one for the container planter though. Put this one in a big patio planter with good drainage. It's going to look awesome.
Now guys, we've got an open house coming up April 5th and 6th here at Mr. Maple. You're going to want to be here. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on that Friday and 8 a.m. to noon on that Saturday. It's tons of cool plants, tons of cool people, and you get to go around, see cool trees in spring color with fun people who love Japanese maples. You'll want to be there.
Now, for the first time ever at that open house, we may be doing an edition of the Mr. Maple game show. So if you want to be involved in that, put your name in the comment section below. If you're going to be here, we would love to host that. There's going to be prizes. It's going to be high stakes drama. We're going to have a great time with that Mr. Maple game show. Recommend your favorite regulars. If you know somebody that comes to open house that's going to be here, you can put their name in the comment section. We'll see if we can pick them. We're going to have about 5 contestants in the first ever Mr. Maple game show at our spring open house.
That sounds like a blast. Guys, we're bringing you right now Acer circinatum Pacific Fire in 1 gallons.
One of the few coral barks that's not an Acer palmatum. This is an Acer circinatum. Excellent bark interest, likely a hybrid between the native circinatum there in the Pacific Northwest and a palmatum, giving it that coral bark feature. Excellent tree. You get all those cool coral bark features, but with some intense red stemming on this one. This one stays very, very red. It is a showstopper for the colors. You can get yellows, reds, oranges all going on at the same time in that fall color, which is pretty cool to see on a red stem maple as well.
One of the reasons I love Pacific Fire is this plant on a mature specimen is almost coral red all the way down to the base where it's grafted at. I mean, on older specimens, it takes longer for the Acer cercinatum Pacific Fire to get that older wood. So this one really is a showstopper out there with coral bark winter interest out there in the winter landscape. Has a really nice upright habit. Being an Acer cercinatum, it actually gets a little more twiggier growth, so it'll get shorter and shrubbier, like the Pacific Northwest native, the Acer cercinatum. That means you get more of that coral bark color down lower. So it makes an excellent tree out there in the garden.
All right, let's see what's next here. Let's grab this one here. These are fresh in from the Buckholz nursery, guys. We actually have an amazing one of these at the Buckholz farm, planted right next to the big purple ghost. So if you want to see our Fagus sylvatica aurea pendula, go watch the purple ghost video. They pair so amazingly together. This one has that splash of bright yellow going on right next to that purple ghost. Two of my favorite plants contrasting each other perfectly there in that garden.
The yellow on Fagus sylvatica aurea pendula is outstanding. When I saw it next to that purple ghost, I was like, man, Talon really did exactly what I said. He paired a purple with a yellow. Now, he did it long before I ever said it, but I saw that and I was like, he knows what's up. He's putting that intense color next to the intense color of aurea pendula. That is just a showstopper out there in the garden. And that's what yellow can do. It can give you a color to bounce off of and give you some contrast that really draws the eye to all the plants in the garden. Aurea pendula does that in a very nice way with a very heavily cascading habit. It's a European beech. Give them good drainage.
Awesome plant to be growing, guys. I love this one. I love the leaf textures of the Fagus with that high intensity yellow. It gets some of the brightest yellows to it as well. We have a cultivar breakdown on this one at Dr. Criticos' gardens. Definitely go check that out. It is an outstanding plant to be growing. I just love everything about this plant. We do stake them when they're young. They do tend to form a central leader after that and then wheat down from there. So it's a tall beech with that pendulous nature going down. So graceful. Makes a perfect pairing with something like Black Swan. I absolutely love this plant.
So guys, if you're in Texas, guess what? We're headed your direction. The week after our open house, we're gonna be at SFA Gardens and Dallas, Texas. So we've got Nacogdoches, Texas and Dallas, Texas we'll be at. We have special pickups for those people who are in that area that want free shipping. So basically, it's not even, we're driving them to you and you can pick them up.
So you gotta pick them up that time.
That week at SFA Gardens or Dallas, Texas. You can use SFA pickup. That's SFA pickup, all one word, in the discount code, hit apply. And that's for those at SFA. They're gonna be picking up in Nacogdoches, Texas. And for those in Dallas, you can use Dallas pickup, hit apply. It takes off the shipping costs, and we'll be loading those in our truck and bringing them to you down there when we're down there the week after our open house. That's in April. You're gonna wanna be there. We're gonna have some fun meetup stuff. Check out our website for all of our Texas trip announcements.
And if you're not in Dallas and you use those codes, I'm giving your plants to a happy Texan.
Now you can drive down from Oklahoma. If you're driving down from Oklahoma,
gotta be there, though.
But you gotta be there whenever we're down there to get those trees picked up and get that free shipping. Guys, next up, we've got Acer palmatum, hoshizora.
Now this is a rare one from Japan. It hasn't been offered a lot in the United States. It was first offered here at MrMaple. Hoshizora hails from the same nursery that named Ryusen. People must say I've been saying Ryusen. I'll try Ryusen. I got like a million comments on that. So Ryusei also comes from the same nursery, Kobayashi Momiji-in, that named Hoshizora. Now this is an outstanding weeping form with different fall color than Ryusei.
And this is one of those cool selections that we saw when we went out there and visited. And this was one of their newest and neatest introductions. And Matt and I were like, that's pretty awesome. And they were like, guys, y'all should make sure that this gets introduced in the United States. And we said, you got it. We'll do it. So this is such a cool plant. I love getting plants that are basically rare plants that you don't find anywhere else. And that's exactly what hoshizora is. It can be grown in a hanging basket. These are some nice low grass that cascade downward. You can grow them in a hanging basket and let it cascade off of that. Check out our videos on growing Japanese maples in hanging baskets. This is an excellent option. You can stake this up to about 6 feet and let it cascade down as well. There's so many fun ways to grow this unique type of a Japanese maple.
Equally as heat tolerant as Ryusen, durable as all get out, excellent plant to be growing, giving you some variation there. Hoshizora, bringing it back here on MrMaple, excellent grower. This one takes off. Staking it is a great way to do it. If not, it'll be more of a ground cover. But Acer palmatum, hoshizora, back on the table. Let's break the ice. We got some icebreakers.
Yeah, all these icebreakers are in Welsh pots. They're small, dense, little dwarfs that give a unique interest in the winter garden. Their leaves, their needles curve backwards, so you can actually see the silver backsides to the foliage. This was found as a witch's broom on the cultivar Hortsman Silverlock, which is a favorite among many conifer people. This Abies coreana is a small, compact selection. Give it good drainage. It gives a unique white silver color out there in the garden.
Well, we get asked a lot what our Welsh pots are. The Welsh people prefer a smaller pot. That's where this comes from. They're actually from the Buckholz farm, though. A lot of people ask, they're basically the same size as our 1 gallons, oftentimes even bigger, but they are a more of a squatty pot, a little bit shorter going on there. Icebreaker is a showstopper. There's some great specimens of this at the Buckholz nursery as well. These are grafted directly from those. I love this plant. It shows up and shows out. Looks great in a container or in the ground. Definitely give this one some protection from the hot afternoon sun in the hotter zones. You want to be giving it at least 4 to 5 hours of sun, but protecting it from that late day sun.
Icebreaker, it's such an amazing plant. I mean, you can use this in the garden in so many unique ways because it's got that small, dense, compact stature and that amazing color.
All right, what's next? What's next? Let's keep going with some of these conifers from the Buckholz farm. Guys, we're bringing back Cherman. Also in our Welch pots today for you Welchmen.
Cherman is an evergreen that gives a blue-silver color to it. It has these really unique cathedrals that come off of this in unique ways. This is such a cool plant to use out there in the garden. Most people, when they see this plant, they're like, that's awesome. They actually use these at the railroad garden at the North Carolina Arboretum, and they put these around the railroad to emulate trees out there in the landscape. And that's a way you can do this as well. It makes an excellent tree for railroad gardens, for fairy gardens, small places in the garden, but it looks cool. It can be used anywhere in the garden. You don't have to have a miniature garden to use this plant. We've got one of these at the entranceway to Hillstone Arboretum, and the way this tree just stands out with this cool blue-silver color is pretty spectacular.
Makes a great pairing with Japanese maples. It really shows out. You know, it's almost a blue-green color. You get those white accents in it. Just a showstopper plant. I like the small cathedral that it makes. So it looks like a small upright there in the landscape. You get these interesting branches going off of it. And it kind of just makes a real monumental feel, even on a smaller statured plant in the garden. You can use it to bring a little bit of vertical interest to the garden, especially the small conifer areas. It looks excellent in a container as well. It's definitely one I recommend for a big pot or patio planter. But I put this out with your Crimson Queen, your smaller Japanese maples. It's going to look incredible.
From one Hinoki cypress to another, this one's a fuller, denser one. This one is one called Vocals Upright. And it stays full and dense, but it gets 3 to 4 feet in height by 1 foot in width in 10 years.
So yeah, this makes it a perfect Hinoki cypress for that medium size range. I love that color pattern that it brings. It's got a fresh look to it, very crisp, tough look to it, and it really will give you some good vertical interest.
I mean, Hinoki cypresses are classics. You put them in traditional Japanese gardening as this unique evergreen interest that contrasts so well with the Japanese maples. But then with this one particularly, you can use it in more narrow spaces because of its more narrow habit. Vocals Upright gives you a really nice yellow-green new growth to it, but blue-green down below, giving good color contrast. It's a pretty cool evergreen.
Yeah, the lighter parts are going to be more yellowish in the sun for sure. I love that texture that it brings to the garden. It really pairs well, and it gives you a plant to build your garden around. It gives you some bones that you can then design your structures around. You can play off of this with your Japanese maples because it's giving you some kind of hard structures there in the landscape. Evergreen too, so it's going to be there throughout the seasons. And you can kind of use this to kind of build your garden from. All right, let's check out the last conifer here on the table.
Guys, we've got Picea orientalis Tom Thumb. They're high grafts, their own standards.
A lot of people have been waiting for this one to come back. Tom Thumb, always popular. The standard look to these are great. Gets them a little raised up. I really like it. Bob Fincham talked about that being an excellent way to grow a lot of these smaller Piceas because you get that airflow underneath them. And this one's going to hit that high yellow, especially the parts that are in the sun are going to get even more intensely yellow.
This is such a cool tree. It stays really dense and compact. It was found as a witch's broom on the cultivar Skylands, and it's basically the most dense and compact form of that. Being that it's so small, it gets that Tom Thumb name because of its just small stature. I like the high grafts on these though. The high grafts just raises that up. You can use this as more of a background plant in the small miniature garden.
Excellent plant to be growing. Again, you want to be giving this one some sunlight for that better yellow color, at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight a day. Absolutely outstanding plant. Pair this with your red lace leaves, it's going to show out. And that height, the standard helps it not get lost there in the garden with some of the bigger lace leaves as well.
Next up, guys, we've got an Acer Shirasalanum Aureum, the golden full moon maple, in some good sized 3 gallons.
Check out these large 3 gallons. You know, Aureum's slow growing, so it's a great chance to pick these up at a bigger size. Acer Shirasalanum, the golden full moon, excellent plant. I saw the original one of these at Esfeld Plantinium. Legend has it that Seabold himself sailed up there to Esfeld and threw it out on the bank where it's planted. The tree itself, several hundred years old. I got to see it there with Cor Van Gelderen. Really cool lineage behind it. Aureum brings it, and some great size plants here in our 3 gallons.
Guys, it brings the yellow color like almost no other Acer Shirasalanum. Give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun. It is a plant that I often put in a container, move it around the garden, find its extreme happy spot, and then plant it with good drainage. It is an amazing tree that has a full moon rounded style foliage and that bright yellow color out there in the landscape.
Awesome plant. You know what would be really cool is if someone found a Shirasalanum that was kind of variegated.
That would be pretty cool.
All right, guys, we're bringing it out. Magic Moon back here on the 10 at 10 today. Acer Shirasalanum Magic Moon from our Area 51 collection. Absolutely highly sought after plant. These will sell out today. Very cool one. These have been cut back slightly for Sonwoods. They have been nipped a little bit for shape and for cuttings. They're about to blast off this spring. Made popular by Brian Rule and so many others that have this one. I know Alan LaFoe, Michael James has this one he found at open house, and everybody's been coveting them based off their pictures. Well, we're getting it back on the 10 at 10 and some decent numbers, but don't sleep on it today. It will 100% sell out quickly.
So whenever you add this to your cart, check out quickly, because this tree, our website doesn't hold it for you until you complete that checkout process. And that's true with all of our trees we're listing on MrMaple.com. Check out quickly. Magic Moon, this is a really cool Acer Shirasalanum. There's not much else like this tree. It's really special. It's really unique. We often say that we Magic Mooned ourselves because we sold too many of these off before we kept enough stock plants. Whenever people started realizing how amazing Magic Moon was, we didn't have it in numbers to be able to produce. And so now we've got some good stock plants back. We even cut these back, like Matt mentioned, because we're trying to produce as many of these as possible this winter. We've got a big crop coming on. We've got a decent crop of these right now. Magic Moon, it just has this magical appearance to it. It's a full moon style leaf with this unique malting variegation inside the leaf. There's nothing else quite like this tree. It's an Acer Shirasalanum. It's variegated. Guys, it's magical.
This one comes out in the spring, a little bit green, and then you start to get these malting edges to it. I've even seen it unfurling with that purplish eye to it sometimes. It's super funky. It's an odd one to say the least. It's a collector plant. I think you're going to love this one. It's a vigorous grower, typically 6 foot, even in that kind of 10-year span. This one's going to work zones 5 through 9. I do recommend some late day shade in your hotter zones on most Shirasalanums. That's going to be true of this one as well. A little bit of early morning sun, though, is going to intensify that variegated color to it. So if you give it a little bit of early morning sun, you'll get even weirder colors. Now, we named this one here at Mr. Maple, and you guys have been begging for it to be back. We did that most anticipated plants of 2024. Magic Moon had to be on that list because you guys, you've been begging for this one for a while. We hear you, and we're always working to get those numbers up. Check out Magic Moon on Mr. Maple today.
Guys, this is 10 of the 20 trees getting listed today. If you want to see the full listing of trees, go on our website at 10 a.m. You can see the other 10, or you can sign up for our weekly emails to be notified so you get it at 9 a.m. in your inbox, and you can be prepared at when 10 a.m. hits to check out with the right trees that you want.
Let us know your favorite tree from today's lineup in the comment section below. Also, sign up in the comment section below if you want to be in that upcoming Mr. Maple game show. We appreciate you watching.
Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.